So hope you had a chance to have some refreshment snacks as well as you were able to spend some time with the sponsors. I hope you also got a chance to visit their booths. All right, with that said, let's get started off with the next track talk. We have with me Mhahesh Muraleedhara, is Head of Quality Engineering North America, Genser Technologies. He's going to talk about on shifting from quality engineering to quality intelligence, why and how. Welcome.
Mr. Patil. Thank you so much, Sanjay. How is everyone? Good. I think that coffee was much needed. I mean, the Atlanta traffic was so slow this morning. I mean, I almost slept. Right. Now, how many of you in this room have been using any of the AI models in the recent times? ChatGPT, Copilot, you name it. Raise your hands. Oh, everyone. You know, I actually used Gemini the other day to have a corporate headshot created for me. It was beautiful. But I have a question to you all. How much of the response do you actually trust? Do you take it in? Yes? No? Would you believe it? So, the art of possibilities of using AI, how much do I trust? How much do I balance? Is what I would like to speak about in the next 35 minutes. I know Sanjay is already giving me stress that we have to keep time check. I'm going to try and do that, but let's try and make this fast. So, before we dive into quality intelligence and the whys and the hows, let's take a step back, right? Now, let's speak about quality engineering for a second, right? Now, why do we call quality and engineering? Oops, try with that. Any thoughts? Why is quality an engineering principle? I like to keep talking. I'll keep boring you out. Right? So we call quality and engineering, or science of engineering, because it's mostly science. It's driven by science. It gives us predictability, right? Now we all started when there was no process of writing test cases. The developers were just figuring out if I have the right quality, and then we started the phase and the age of testing, and then we said, hey, you know what, we're doing a lot of testing, I want documented testing, and then we started with quality assurance. Hey, you know what, I'm assuring quality for everyone, what else do I do with it? This doesn't give me predictability. So then we said, I have data, what can I do with the data? I want to bring in structured processes, use the data, and bring in the engineering mindset. Right? Now, quality engineering has been there for many years now. We shifted from different methodologies of how we operate, from being waterfall into agile, and then in agile, you have the scaled agile, or you name it, there is tons of it, right? And there are some people who now says agile is dead, we have to do something else. But off top of all of that, quality is the most important thing. And before I move on to the next slide, I have a question to you all. What is the definition of quality for you? Can be anything. Bug free?
Fit for use.
Sorry.
Fit for use.
A fit for use.
Making sure that AC9 wasn't hard later.
Brilliant. Right? So the definition of quality can differ from people to people, but at the end of the day, the definition of quality is usability, accessibility, and a defect-free application that allows me to take my product to my end consumer. Right? How do I get there? Irrespective of whether I'm following any types of methodologies, whether I'm doing it in a science-driven model, or do I use intelligence to get there, is how do I get to my definition of quality faster? So moving on. Now, we are in that age where I'm actually feeling old. We started thinking about AIs and whatnot 2 years ago. I mean, forget about it. I spent a week designing a open source framework to test multiple applications. Then spent another week defining what a self-healing algorithm should look like. Using Yakuza, Paisa, and you name it, we were exploring all of those models. I used Copilot the other week. I gave it some contextualized prompts. My 2 weeks of efforts, I was able to deliver it in under an hour. I mean, That's how fast things are. We are no longer in the world of, oh, is AI going to help me in my world of testing lifecycle or the software development lifecycle? It's totally changed. We are definitely using it. Everybody is using it. But the question is AI giving you adaptability, right? Well, the quality engineering principles gave you predictability, right? We know what's going to happen towards the end of it. I have matrices, I have defect free, defect densities, test coverages, you name it, I have all of those to give me those predictabilities. Now, while I use the intelligence and I bring in intelligence, what I need the most is the adaptability to leverage the solutions, deliver this, oops, I'm gonna trip. I'm gonna shift this side, don't worry.
It likes you.
It likes me. It keeps the audience active too. They like me too much. Right? So, in order for me to achieve the adaptability, there is a need for shift. And the shifting into quality intelligence. Now, why is traditional quality engineering no longer enough? Right? I tried to capture some of the concepts that I could think of, but I want to make this interactive. So while I'm here to talk, I'm also here to learn. Right? I'm a student at the end of the day. So there's always a rising complexity. There's always different ways of working. I know the first speaker, Matt, he was talking about how we can bring in a completely autonomous approach, where I'm telling agents to just get on with it, right? I'm just going to tell the agent, hey, agent Sanjay, can you fix the tape? It keeps tripping me. And there you go, Sanjay is already trying to fix the tape for me, right? That's how autonomous that we need the solutions to be. With that autonomy coming in, it also increases the complexity of the different integrations that will come in, right? Can I get my adaptability there? It also has exponential growth of different interfaces. Let's take a modernization program, for example. How many of you are still in mainframe, or still using mainframe, or in the path of moving into mainframe? No? I still have, right? There you go, I have somebody there. I mean, you take any large enterprises, they still rely heavily on mainframe. Well, it's a dying technology. People want to move away from it. And Matt was also saying about there is an additional cost now that comes with it. Staying in legacy comes with a cost, moving into cloud comes with a cost too. But then when you balance it out, which cost do you want to take? Is the cost of flexibility and the cost of adaptability, rather than staying in the legacy saying, this works, I don't want to change it, right? It may not longer work in a few years down the line. So, such large transformation programs in the past have taken years to complete, right? And take mainframe, for example, it would take an enterprise which is using it for 20 odd years, the trial knowledge is lost, there is very less documentations. How do you solve these problems in transformation? You need to know what are my different interfaces. You don't even know what my technical depths are. Over 2 decades of an enterprise using an application, they would have made tons of changes, mostly not documented, mostly some documented. That's where the intelligence helps us. We can create intelligent models to scan through your production logs, which actually happens, and I'm planning to show a live example today, that actually tells you these are your external interfaces. And it does generate garbage many times as well, but then in that garbage is hidden gold as well, right? It gives you all of the documentations from I had nothing before. You can use that documentations then to process information like test cases. And from that test cases, one of the attendees was asking this questions of, what can I do? Is it going to be more standard test cases? Can I add more contextualized information into it? Can I add edge negative scenarios? Well, when you don't know anything to start with, if you're having detailed documentations, now you can add your human in loop and then take it to the next steps. And that's why a traditional engineering process may not necessarily be enough, but then you have to pick and choose where you bring in your intelligence as well, right? Now, there are a few organizations, even today, that doesn't even have a proper testing organization set up, right? Because it works for them. Will I introduce intelligence from day one? Probably not, because you have to be in certain maturity. I know CTMMI is a sponsor. I don't know if TMMI guys are here. They would say that you have to be at least at a level 3 before you even start considering introducing intelligence into it. You need to have a stable system. The repeatability has to be achieved. The adaptability has to be achieved before you can start leveraging the intelligence, because it needs the data from your system to predict, to give contextualized information that's going to help you. Okay. Then becomes introduction of the art of intelligence. So for the effective utilization of intelligence to work, what are the things that we need? Now I'm always calling AI as an art, right? And there's a reason why I try to mix this with art is to get the relativity easier too. You could say it can be a craft as well, right? But what's the difference between science and the art? Science is all about predictability. Art is all about creativity. You need the curiosity, right? And you have to explore and be willing to unwind your imagination so that you can work with the LLMs and SLMs and the MCPs and get what you need, right? Now, I don't want it to be referred to a craft. I want it to be referred as an art. Why would that be? What's the difference? I think I'm getting bored now. Yep. Why do I not want to refer intelligence to a craft and just an art?
So, craft is basically, you are working within a boundary, right? I mean, you have certain, tools to work with, and you have a limitation. But art, you can be, as exponential in your imagination as possible, right? So I think that's why,
That's brilliant, right? Now, craft comes with its own limitations too. You stop at a certain point of time, but you take an artist, they have a vision, right? We may not be able to understand what their vision is till they get to the end stage of it. That's exactly how the intelligence is always going to be too. You can use any LLMs, even ChatGPT, to give a requirement, as plain English requirement, to help generate test cases and leave it there. I can create wrappers around it to then take it to the next level. These test cases are not contextualized enough for me. This doesn't fit my domain. This doesn't fit my technology landscape that I have. How can I customize this more? Do I stop there? Can I generate maybe automation scripts, boilerplates, so that I can increase my adoption of intelligence across my testing lifecycle in a view that I'm able to deliver faster releases and help my customer reach my end goal faster? Hence, I want to relate the intelligence to an art. And you would hear this spoken and written by many people that AI is an art, and that probably is a reason. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But then that allows you to use insight-driven planning, right? You need insights, and that's what I say. You need to be at least at a level 3 maturity in TMMI that has enough data for your intelligence system to consume, and then start giving you smarter predictive insights, help you with better decision making, allows you to have anticipation in your test design techniques, have the ability and adaptability to have autonomous execution through agentic AI, and then obviously create a better collaboration. Now, how many of you are actual empowers of shift left testing? Yeah, one, right? How much have you scaled it at an enterprise level? I know shift left testing happens in pockets. How successful are you able to scale it at a true enterprise? Very difficult, right? Very, very hard. One of the biggest reasons why it's hard to shift left is difficult to inject your QAs and your developers and have your business together in a room. They don't want to do that, right? They have their own different mindsets. I want to work in silos. But with intelligence, the collaboration and the culture increases, right? Now, one of the CIOs that I was working with 6 months back, he told me, and this is a large retailer, by the way, if I find a defect in production, a P1 defect, it kills my revenue. It takes a minimum of 36 story points to put it back, do the code reversion, find where the problem is, fix it, test it, put it into production, back it into pre-prod, and update all of your scenarios, right? And all of this happens in what, 2 hours, 3 hours in a war room. Productive hours are being lost. If I find these issues in my regression end-to-end cycle, it's 18 story points because of all the effort that has been gone in the way, even with automation. But if I find that in functional testing cycles, it's 8 story points, and if I'm able to stop them at the requirement stage, I'm only going to spend 2 story points. So where do I stop my defects? It's at the requirement stage, and hence the need for more to shift left. And for the 3 amigos to come together, and it rings bells for everybody now. Now, for the 3 amigos to come together, you need to empower them with the right tool sets, right mindset for them to operate on their own. It doesn't need to be in the same room. I can empower my product owners or businesses who write stories with an efficient system that looks at primary KPIs, invest, smart, and complete, and ask them to write stories according to that. I mean, Robin Goldsmith has written a brilliant book about effective utilization of, or how to write stories, how to do static testing of defects. We can inject all of those principles, which means the stories, acceptance criteria are articulated, written really well in a way there is no ambiguity. The requirement defects, or in the past as what we would call it, static testing can be done in an autonomous fashion, right? You are having a true shift left enabler through AI and gives you the adaptability. Now let's look at, I've tried to create a view of, from when I started, this is what I did, how I transitioned into being a quality engineer, and what are some of the practical use cases of intelligence being applied. Does any apply to you? On your day-to-day life cycle, can you tell me if you are in some journey into your intelligent and predictive journey? No? Yes? There are some no's, there are some yeses. Now think about it, right? I mean, I'm keeping referring back to Matthew's keynote that he started with, that it brings a lot of bell, right? He spoke about cloud, but then we still have legacy web applications. I was talking about mainframe. I had a few hands raised as well. But then these are changing, right? We don't want to talk about, there is no more center of excellences, it's decentralized. We started with federated, we went with center of excellences. It's going into more of autonomous agentic approaches where everything is intelligence driven. And then I asked about what is the definition of quality. I was given usability, I was giving experience, but now I want to move into sentiment driven analysis, right? Now, which is your favorite shopping site? What is your favorite shopping site? Amazon? Okay. So if I go into Amazon and Amazon takes 20 seconds to load, the interface is not so great, I would not want to go back into Amazon, right? I may be trying to buy a shirt, I might as well go into Macy's and buy my shirt, right? So how do I know if my end consumer, how do I measure their sentiments, right? So that I'm not leaking the essence of it. Gone are the days where you actually come into your physical shops, you look at it, you touch and feel it, you buy more things. It's about retaining your customers in your digital world. And if I'm this impatient, think about the Gen Zs, they wouldn't even want to spend more than 2 seconds in a website, right? They are very impatient. So how do I capture that sentiments, turn that into smarter insights that allows me to take better decisions, that allows me to put me back into my continuous feedback loop. All of these insights is what the businesses should consume when they write effective stories, right? Of course, you will have your SEOs, you will understand your sales patterns, look at what's going wrong, what's generating more businesses, which portal is selling more insurance, all of those things. But then the fundamental fact about it is the end consumer's sentiments on whether I like it or not, right? So that's when I look at it from different phases of testing, right? I keep missing his name, the CTO from Tourist, the last keynote he was talking about all of the different phases of which we are introducing or moving into the testing AI lifecycle, right? Now, I've called out very specific core components in there, and you could see that I've not captured in every single phases of your software testing lifecycle. There are more, if I want to call it. These are the areas where I actually see practical usages of AI being introduced today, where real business are being generated. There are hundreds of use cases. These, definitely yes, thumbs up. Now, what are some of the pillars that is going to help us when we move from a quality engineering into an insight-driven quality, right? Now, from my perspective, I have 5 loops, right? I start with observability and insight. How many of you are into site reliability and engineering and who is into observability? I have 1. What's the marriage between quality and SRE? From site reliability and from observability is where you get more of your production insights. I want to consume all of those dashboards to detect anomalies. Customer may be calling in from a contact center and telling them that, hey, your app isn't working properly. Now, I want to have an intelligent system integrated with my SRE dashboards, so as soon as somebody reports a problem, it goes into the dashboards and figure out where the friction is, right? So even before my system actually goes down, I'm using insights from my observability system to take predictive and preventive actions from my systems going down, protecting my consumer's revenue. So it's always prevention over detection, using my insights, continuous learning. Now, while I talk about all of the different phases of shifting left, shifting right, using insights from the SRE dashboards and production, what it allows me as a quality engineer and as a business is to learn more, implement what I learn into my systems faster, take corrective measures faster, and deliver smarter decisions as well. The most important part in all of these elements, right? I started the session with how much of the data that AI that generates do you trust? Everybody said no, which is good because you're keeping your human in the loop. Now everybody thinks that AI is going to take over a quality engineer's job away. I don't believe that. With more and more intelligence being used, I actually believe that the necessity of a quality engineer's presence is going to be really, really high. We are the human in loop, right? When developers produce codes in a matter of seconds with the code assist or your copilots, how do you ensure that they are still aligned to the requirements, right? I can always bring in different techniques of predictively analyzing and see if it is going to work, but then if I don't keep my human in loop, I don't even know if my sentiments are going to be taken care of. I don't know if my color patterns are going to be really care, right? I have to keep that in, continuing to validate if I can build my trust engineering with the intelligence that we are trying to apply to the system. Now, I have a demo that I wanted to play. I have 2 things that I wanted to do. Sanjay, I hope that I can play a demo. Thank you. Now, this is not a record and playback. I am a firm believer of trying to do this in live, so if this actually breaks, that's my human loop.
True. If there is audio, then you can.
No audio. No, I'm the audio. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, so I was talking about introducing intelligence in testing lifecycle, right? Now, I'm pretty sure you all would have done this in different ways, different tools, Atlassian Intelligence Asset, Tricentis Asset, you name it, there are different versions of it. I wanted to show you the art of possibilities in 2 ways. One with your existing ecosystem. I'm pretty sure every enterprise will have their preferred usage of LLMs. It could be your Copilot, it could be your Gemini based on where your tech stack is, right? How do I bring in best use of the ecosystem, empower my businesses, quality engineers to do their things in a better way? Now, I could have done this in a completely, totally different way, but excuse me if this is not mature enough. Now, what I've tried to do is I've captured a couple of user stories, right? Plain English. I've tried to take an extract from Jira. I do have a Jira integration, but I'm not able to show that today. My boss will kill me if I show my enterprise licenses here. So I have Jira stories. I'm giving it detailed insights of what my story has. I have an acceptance criteria different. I have given 3 user stories here. Now I've created a multi-agent loop instructions in my Copilot to take 3 different roles. First role, I'm going to take a role of a business analyst, where I'm going to review the stories, write it in a better way, and see if I have enough coverages. The second agent, I'm going to be a senior test architect, where I'm going to author test cases. And my third agent would go ahead and write automation boilerplates. I've taken C# as my example. I can get it generated into any format and any language I want. So I'm going to simply say, process my stories with the instructions that I've given. I hope that it actually works. So it's taking its time. So it says it understands what it needs to be done. That was fast. So it has gone through, started creating phases, each phases of each agents. Phase 1 is the business user, phase 2 is your test architect, so senior test engineer, and 3 is your automation engineer. That's exactly what it's saying. So now it's going through phase 1. I'm a product owner and a quality analyst. I want to go through all of the requirements, all of the stories. What I did, I was using all the fancy words of invest, smart, complete, Robin Goldsmith's principles of how to effectively write stories. I've given that all in my instructions, even more. I even given them user story quality standards as well. That's something new that I learned when I was preparing for this demo. So it's done phase 1. Now it's gone to phase 2. Taking this time. How many of you have seen the 3 Idiots movie? Yeah, brilliant. So it's an Indian movie. Very fun movie to watch with. It speaks about how to learn differently. Now, the textbook school system doesn't really work. So 3 idiots. One guy is really brilliant, and then they all end up being really great. Now, I want to use an example of why not to trust AI. I want to show you with an example that I got inspired from the movie. Okay. Still working? See, this is the fun part of actually doing it live.
I won't get a coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back.
Actually, you would also believe that it actually works rather than playing an animated video, isn't it? I mean, I could ask the VO3 to create a 1-minute video of how this actually works. It does a really good job in animation. I actually wanted this to fail, but it's actually working. Yes.
What tool is that?
So while this works, I'm going to go through one by one. Otherwise, Sanjay is giving me stares that my time is up. So with the criteria that I gave in, the business KPIs, so invest, I've created a golden checklist for evaluation. Invest is nothing but is it independent, negotiable, and these are primary KPIs when business actually takes the stories to whether they want to use it or not. So it's done that, complete analysis across all the stories. It's giving me recommendations on what I need to do in the story. So I'm actually enabling the business users to correct it. I'm enabling shift left. I've given them a beautiful acceptance criteria. It's actually updating it. It's doing that for all the 3 stories across all the different golden checklist parameters that I've given. And once that is done, I have the test cases generated. Again, this is at a very high level. This goes back to one of the questions the audience was asking. It's not detailed enough. This is still not detailed enough because it doesn't have any context to what I've given, right? It needs data to be consumed to understand what more can I inject. So if I can integrate this solution as part of Jira, Confluence, or any of your solutions that where you store your documentations, it would consume it. It would learn, then starts producing more valuable information. But think of shift left. Now your story is getting ready. By the time your pre-grooming is done, your test scenarios are done. When you mark your stories groomed, your test cases are ready. When you come into your sprint cycles, you can now start focusing on in-sprint automation. Gone are the days of thinking about I'm in N-1, I'm trying to get to N, I want to do in-sprint automation. Those days are done. Because I have even the automation boilerplates done at the start of the grooming phase. So all I need to know now, bring in my human in the loop, enhance the story or the boilerplate code that I have with the necessary information of what my locators are, what my database connectivity is, what's the test data that I have to use. I can even automate that as well with my agentic approach. There you go. It's giving me everything done. The summary is actually being done. It has completed all the 3 rows completely. So this is one way of doing it if you have your own ecosystem to support you. The other one is a tool-based approach. Of course, I'm not trying to sell a tool, I'm just trying to give an approach. Sanjay, how long do I have?
5 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let it load. Now, I said I'm going to use an example of the movie that inspired me, right? Now, I believe that AI is a brilliant con artist, okay? So I'm going to test if it actually knows what it's actually going to do. So, I'm going to use your name, Sanjay, sorry. So, let's see. Can you help me? A complex program to there you go. So how in that movie the actor proves to the professor that it's not always about what's in the textbook is he has 2 friends. He combines the friend's name and writes it in this whiteboard and says, find me in the textbook where this word is in 10 seconds. That's what the normal textbook teaching culture is all about. There's never a word like that. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm asking the tool to write a program for Sanjayification. And there you go, it's actually want to try. It's asking me, I can write it. Can you give me some more information on Sanjayification, right? You can't really trust it. But let's see, I'm gonna try and do something different. Now, can you, what for this? Action database. Would it actually think? Would it allow me to delete production database? No, right? At least it knows that. But it's giving me the code and the pattern on how to doing it. Right? It's giving me the warning, but there you go. Here's the code, go and do it if you have the access. Right? So human in loop is extremely needed, right? You can never skip that part. Now what that does, now this is a fantastic UI where we have wrapped everything together. I'll show you everything once quickly. Oh, you know what? There you go. Oh, too small. Were you able to read it from the back? Sajay? Okay, I have thumbs up. So what I was trying to do with this UI is I've built integration into my GitHub, Jira, and I've also created ability to help tell business users that, you know what, I can generate test cases, automation scripts across any format, any languages, or services, right? So if I have my Jira account, all I have to do, and everybody can do this, is the ability to pull the stories from Jira, import it into my project to start working on it. Now, once the project is there, I started speaking about what is my cost associated with defects. I'll take 2 more minutes, Sanjay. I know that I'm done. Right? There's always a cost associated with my defects. I want to know how much cost do I save in every step of the way. So I've tried to add a calculator. I want to say how much is my rework cost across every step of my testing lifecycle. I want to keep business users accountable for writing me better stories. And everything has a number to it. When you add a number to it, people will be more accountable, more receptive to feedback. So that's what we try to do here. Okay? And then, once you do that, I also gave the ability to do one-click training. Right? I want to start using and start trusting AI from day one. How do I do that? It needs context. Right? Otherwise, if I start using AI today with no context, I may not even get 0 or 1% improvement in my productivity. The more it learns, your productivity goes up. So do that. I've created a story from my system. I have 3 ways. I've created a chatbot, and the chatbot is already there in my Copilot. I just added the chatbot here to talk about it, right? I can ask, is the story written for a QA? I'm shifting left. I'm a business user. I don't have the testers with me to ask feedback, but I want to ask somebody, is my story looking good? Saying, well, probably not. Do a better job, right? And when I'm writing it, somebody tells me, hey, you know what? I just found a lock that assigns back to the story. Do you want to use it? I can give it to the chatbot to help me enhance the story with those information. We have that. I can upload Figma diagrams. I can link my code. This is the most important part. That's why I actually shifted here. I'm actually linking my Git repo here, right? And my second agent does the analysis. So all you saw in the black screen, I've tried to give you in a presentable way. Not everybody likes black screens. Some of the business people would kill me if I give them the code. Just give me a good interface, right? So all of the principles, I've tried to map it in, and I'm telling them where you're going wrong, what should you do to maybe increase the score, right? Now, some of the popular analysts actually say invest can be anywhere above 80%, and your story is actually good. So you must actually try to get an 80%. I've done static testing of defects. So everything that you saw on the black screen, I'm just showing it into a incised, wrappered way. And I'm also telling my AI, why don't you go ahead and fix those defects for me? The right end. Okay? I've created traceability now. I've further broken down the requirements with traceability repos. I can push it back into Jira or ADO at any step of the way. The feature file, the step definition, and the last key feature is my test assets. My scenarios are there. I've added additional scenarios in security test cases, edge negative scenarios. What mathematical models did I use? So I'm telling them, you know what, I'm just not giving any confused algorithms to create some random test cases, giving a traceability metrics, and the automation boilerplate as well. Now, because I gave the ability in the wrapper to say, select what framework that I need to have, if I choose to move to a different framework at a different stage of my testing lifecycle, I can just come back and regenerate the script. My migration is done in one go. Of course, there is some effort to bring in your locators and elements, but then half of your job is done this way, right? Now the most interesting feature is code coverage. Now, how do I know? I want to challenge test developers. 30 seconds, I'm done. I want to challenge developers to say, your code is not ready for me to test. We all get pushed every single day. Go test it, give me feedback. I don't want to do that. I'm checking if you have enough lines of coverage in the code to see if the build is test ready. If I don't get 100%, I'm not testing it. Take it back. Okay? I can also do predictive testing. Developer still challenges me. Hey, you know what? Go run it. I'm not going to run it. I'm going to test it in a predictive way. Is your code going to work? And I'm going to give him this result. It's going to fail. Go fix it. If I run this, I'm going to raise defect. It's going to hurt your story points. Do you really want to do that? Right? My last thing that I've done, which I'm really proud of, is what I call as the code analysis. You are a BA. Once you get the requirement, when do you get to know about other than business users? Sorry, I've been offending them for so long. No. So if you are a BA, a product owner, you give a requirement. You don't get to know what's happening with that requirement unless and until you come into your go, no-go meeting at the last day of the cycle, right? How do I empower the business users the ability to continue to monitor what's actually happening? And hey, Mhahesh, I asked you to test all of these test cases. Have you tested everything? And Sanjay, Mr. Developer, I asked you to give me A, B, and C features. Are you delivering A, B, and C, or are you trying to sneak something in without letting me know? Is it going to hurt me in production? I have no idea if I am a product owner. So I'm trying to give them a view of mapping it every step of the way and tell them, hey, Sanjay, you know what, I found you. You've leaked, you're trying to add something into production without having documented it. It also tells you what's the summary, what's the extra functionality. So as a product owner, you can take better decisions. I'm not going to let you sneak in. Go back and document it. Let the testers test it out. If it's not, then put it out. Okay. Now, those are some of the demos that I wanted to show. And to summarize, okay, it's not always right. It will have outdated knowledge. Stick to the golden rule. Use it to accelerate, not as your primary. It's only an accelerator. It's not going to take anybody's roles and jobs away. It is always an overachiever. I just proved to you it's a con artist too, right? And if you don't give context, it's going to be catastrophe, right? I asked it to delete production. It actually gave me the script to delete production logs. Oh, I think I missed a slide. Did you delete the slides, Sanjay? No.
AI.
I haven't
Yeah.
developed one.
You have a developer. In short, what I was trying to say is you will have your existing quality processes. Make sure you assess various stages to introduce intelligence. Have proper business cases. What I showed you is the art of possibilities. Figure out where you really want to inject your intelligence so that you use it wisely. Have a clear data strategy. If you don't have proper data, this is all going to fail. Right? End of the day, it all depends on your data. It's going to really help you in all of your modernization initiatives, whatever phase that you are in. People may say it won't work. Don't believe it actually works. I use it every time. And then use quality for optimizing, speeding up your testing life cycles. And I try to create a view, if you want to take a picture, of pragmatic view of AI across testing life cycles. Again, I'm a user of AI, so what I try to create is create a view of what are the different tools across different stages of your software development life cycles, from requirements through all the way through your continuous feedback. Again, this is not the exhaustive list, just the popular ones that actually make sense for me on my day-to-day job. Okay? Thank you. Any questions? Right? I think you have a question.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Functional coverage.
Yes.
How would you validate the functional coverage?
So you could always reverse engineer, right? So think about an application that's in production. I have no way to validate the functional coverage. There's always a mechanism to create your application metrics from your gold standard vanilla packs, if it's a packaged application. If it's completely custom developed, then you have to use the logs to reverse engineer what those coverages and gaps are, create that mechanism to create the traceability metrics, and then map it back to test coverages. It's actually being done today. It really works.
Okay. So there are any tools that does it automatically or?
All right, thank
We
you.
can give more context engineering and we can get it done. We can work around it.
Thank you.
Yeah? He wants to kick me off.
No. All right, thank you,
But
Mike.
thank you so much.
All right.
Feedback, everyone.
And next up, we have Steve. He's the Senior Solution Architect from Keysight Technologies. So he'll be talking on breaking the coding barrier